Good morning. This morning we have with us Dawn Hearn, formerly the head trainer at UTEP, and Dr. Ciara Taylor from the USFL. Both are head trainers, and so we're here to talk to them today about women in leadership. Dawn, if I could have you start with us and give us a brief bio, please.
Well, briefly, I was a three-sport athlete in high school, and I used cross country and track to keep me in shape to play softball. Softball was by far my key sport. I was kind of a born leader on the softball field. When I went to college, I went to Iowa State University, and um, back in the day, you could actually go to the colleges and try out ahead of time with those minor sports. So I had that February my senior year, I went to Iowa State and tried out. They only offered me a in-state tuition scholarship. You think as an 18-year-old, no, I'm better than that. Give me a full ride. So I didn't accept it. When I went to Iowa State, I tried to walk on. I was the last person cut. So I called my dad and said, come get me. And he said, sure, you can come home and work at the pizza joint and go to community college. And I decided I'd be better off staying at Iowa State. So I actually went to college in fishery and wildlife biology. And then after a year and a half, I got tired of just taking the advanced levels of biology and chemistry, and I didn't really see how that was going to help me be a park ranger. So my mom kept telling me, you need to go talk to somebody in phys ed. And I did not want to be a PE teacher, but I finally broke down and went. And after 30 minutes of talking to the advisor at Iowa State, she took me down to the women's athletic training room. And that's how I got started in athletic training. I had no idea what an athletic trainer was, but the phys ed advisor just kept asking me what I wanted to do. And I said, well, I'd like to be involved in sports, but I was adamant about not being a PE teacher. And so she saw something there. So I graduated from Iowa State with a degree in phys ed with a minor in athletic training and coaching. And I went on to Ohio University, and that was a 1-year master's program. I got my national certification that spring, and so then got hired at Ohio University to be an athletic trainer at a high school. I was sent out to a high school. So I went from Iowa State, where I had everything imaginable, to this little bitty high school in Ohio. And I used the weight room for my rehab, and my training room. I had a little 4-pack hydroculator unit, and my ice machine that made 50 pounds of ice a day was in the football coach's office. So that really helped me, to perfect my hands-on stuff. I didn't have anybody else there as an athletic trainer. And, you go from having everything imaginable to having nothing. I think that really helped me become a better athletic trainer. After Ohio University, I took a job in Toledo for a year. And after that, I've been at UTEP ever since. I came down to UTEP in 1988 as the only assistant athletic trainer. It was just my old boss, Dave Binder, and myself. And then, he was never going to leave. At least that's what he said back in the day. But then he got a job and got recruited and left in 1995. And that's when I was promoted at UTEP. And so I finished my career at UTEP after 33 plus years.
Excellent. Thank you. Awesome. And we have Ohio University in common. OU? Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. Dr. Taylor, your turn.
Well, hi, my name is Ciara, and I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I actually started athletic training as a middle school student. I ran track, and I had a football coach who asked me, Ciara, do you want to carry the first aid kit, on our sideline and for football games? And I'm like, okay, but I don't understand football. I don't know anything about it. And he goes, oh, I'll teach you the game. And he explained that they had 4 downs, to get 10 yards, and how much touchdowns were worth. And I was literally hooked ever since. My middle school teachers told me that there were careers as an athletic trainer and as a physical therapist. So in high school, I volunteered at a physical therapy clinic, and I just decided that, 8 to 5, stuck in the same walls, kind of just wasn't for me. I liked being outdoors and taking care of, all types of athletes and all different kind of sports. And I remember even back then, when I was interviewing for a position in the athletic training program at Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, which is where I graduated. I remember that question of, do you prefer to work with men's sports or women's sports? And my answer was, well, I love all sports. You know, gender doesn't matter. So I graduated from there in 2005 with a degree, Bachelor of Science in Physical Education, with a minor in athletic training also. And then I went on to get a graduate assistantship at Northwestern State University in Natchitoches, Louisiana. That assistantship was very interesting because it was a teaching assistantship. So we taught courses on first aid and CPR, and that's how we were paid. And then we just volunteered as athletic trainers because we were certified. So I was certified by the Board of Certification in 2006, and then I graduated from Northwestern State in 2007. My first job at a school was at Alabama State University in Montgomery, Alabama. I decided to just stay in the South because in the South, it's like football is king, and I felt like there was a lot of job security if I didn't go back home to Chicago. So I was the assistant athletic trainer at ASU, but I was head football. And then I also had track and field, golf, and the cheerleaders. So I did that for 3 years. And I spoke to our team physicians when I was about to get married. And I said, hey, you know, I'm about to get married. I want a family. I can't work 7 days a week anymore. And they said, come on, move to Birmingham and take one of our high schools. So that's exactly what I did. I've been at Oak Mountain High School in Birmingham for 13 years now. And last year, I had the amazing opportunity to work with the United States Football League, which is the USFL. I was hired as a concussion spotter and then also on the field as a concussion manager. So I served in both roles for the entire season, and I was also picked up for the playoffs in Canton, Ohio. So that was an amazing experience. Throughout my athletic training career, I've held numerous leadership positions. I started on the Young Professionals Committee. That was my first kind of introduction into service. And then from there, I transitioned to the Secondary School Athletic Trainers Committee, where I served for 4 years. And I actually just rolled off in June. And now I am serving on the NATA Research and Education Scholarship Foundation, and I'm also working with the Corey Stringer Institute in Atlas as the Alabama ambassador to help locate athletic trainers in our state and keep our map updated. And then I'm also the vice chairman of the Alabama Board of Athletic Trainers, which is our licensing board. I've served on that board for 8 years now, and I just started off as a general member, and then I moved up to secretary, and now I'm vice chairman. So super excited about athletic training, and I absolutely love leadership, and I absolutely love advocating for our profession.
Excellent. So you've both kind of mentioned service a little bit. It kind of leads me into kind of the value of networking. You both seem to have been busy with committees and things, but do you see the value in networking, networking with other trainers, networking with athletic directors? What has been your experience? Don, we'll start with you.
Oh, networking's huge. I mean, if you don't talk to your peers and people around you, you know, you can get lost in the shuffle. It really came to forefront during COVID, you know, where nobody was at work, but we were working nonstop from our homes. And we would meet probably once a week with all the directors of sports medicine, the head athlete trainers, and the head football trainers within the conference. We would be on video calls at least once a week. Sometimes our team physicians were involved. I mean, you know, that was huge as far as, you know, because we were kind of the leaders, not only within the athletic department, but obviously had a big role on campus with that. So it was, you know, that was a big thing with networking. And, you know, I've always networked. You know, when you go to these big symposiums, sometimes they're so big and you go to the meetings and you're like, well, that's not really what I wanted. But later on, you know, you're meeting with athletic trainers that you don't get to see all the time, or some of the other conference athletic trainers, or even, you know, friends you've worked with over the years that have gone other places, you know, and you just talk and you learn, you know, how are you doing, you know, dealing with this type of thing. And, you know, with the concussion stuff, when I first came in, with concussions, we even had a neurologist on the sideline, and he'd be like, oh, well, let's see how they are at halftime. And that's what we did. The general rule of thumb is if they weren't unconscious, they had a chance to go back. If they lost any consciousness, then, if it was less than a minute, they could come back, within, after a week of being out of sport. If it was longer than that, then that was different, but, things change all the time, and you really need to stay up on stuff. And a lot of times the only way you can do that is by networking.
Excellent. Ciara?
Yes, networking has been very instrumental to my career. It's great to be around like-minded people. It's helped me, secure opportunities in leadership and in my career. And even, sitting here now, Dr. Amy and I went to school together for our doctoral studies. And even though our program is an online program, we connected and we emailed and we stayed in touch. And we graduated together. It was nice to walk across the stage together. And that was our first time meeting in person. So just from networking, I'm sitting here doing this presentation. Networking is so important for honing your skills and just having different experiences. I enjoy, going to our state, district, and national meetings every single year. I've been doing it since 2007. And it's something that I enjoy because you get to network with different athletic trainers from around the world. I always say my network expands from Alaska to Maine. I know athletic trainers that I can call, that I can email, that I can ask questions to, that I can talk to about their experiences. And that makes me a better athletic trainer because of my network.
So you both mentioned conferences. Have you attended women's only conferences or co-ed conferences, and which do you prefer and why? Dawn?
Well, I've never really attended an all women's conference. The best, I used to always go to our national conference. My job at the collegiate level, I have very little time off. So I used to go to our national convention, and that's where I'd network with a lot of people. Well, once we started the summer workouts, then it made it even more difficult to try and go to that. And I started going to the CATS conference, which is the College Athletic Trainer Society. Well, I'm a collegiate athletic trainer, and the first time I went to that, I was sold because it was all about college athletics. It didn't have anything to do. You didn't have any high school trainers there. And it wasn't against anything else, but it was so pertinent to what we do at the collegiate level. And, they bring in, once Brian Hayline was hired as the chief medical officer for the NCAA, he came in and there was an hour roundtable with him up there, and he gave his little spiel, and then unfortunately he just got hammered by us because they just would keep bringing in more and more things about the health and safety of the athletes, which is what we do and which is what's most important to us, but we weren't getting any more help, and we weren't our salaries were suffering at the collegiate level. So that was probably the best conference, and I continued to go to that until I retired. Even when during COVID, I do it virtually, and it was still a great conference, even virtually. So that's kind of, I was very limited on the amount of things I could do just because of my job. But the CATS was really good.
Ciara?
I haven't attended any women only conferences. But again, I do, attend our NATA conferences annually, and I do attend our state and district meetings also.
Do you perceive within your field that you're the only females that you see regularly, or do you find that there are many females in the athletic training arena?
Or there are actually more certified female athletic trainers right now than there are males, but it's just there's so many new work sites that have opened up. It's not just the high school level and the collegiate level and the pros. I mean, you have athletic trainers in factories, you have them, in the military now. In fact, one of my assistants, former assistants, I was talking to, he actually took a job at Fort Bliss here in El Paso, and now he's over in London working, with our Air Force pilots. So as an athletic trainer, so there's so many different fields open now. When I first took over I was only one of three head women's athletic trainers at the Division I level, and only two of us were actually still in charge of football. And so, as I came up through the ranks, I didn't have a lot of female mentors. Um, I didn't see myself as a female. I saw myself as a certified athletic trainer. So I was always going to do what's best for the athletes, and here I am.
Excellent. Excellent. Ciara?
Um, yes, I mean, I do see a ton of female athletic trainers, in the secondary school setting. Um, the NATA was 55% women, and I just read from our current NATA news that we are now 56% women, so it's gone up. Um, During my tenure as an athletic trainer, when I started, it was a male-dominated, field in profession, but now to have seen that our profession kind of change, and I think now we're seen as healthcare professionals, which I think explains why more women, are in the field. I've also witnessed so many women achieve ranks and jobs that I never thought possible. I mean, you turn on an NFL game now and you can see Shanice Jackson on, on the sideline with, the Eagles, or yeah, I know the Miami Dolphins has a female athletic trainer. Tiffany Morton with the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's just like it's the norm now. Back when I started, that wasn't the norm. And so it's nice to see us, with professional sports, the NBA, Major League Baseball, the NFL, and even me with the USFL. I think that women have made great strides in our profession.
Excellent. What advice would you give to young females entering your field or the world of sports, in athletic training and coaching, as an athletic director, as a senior women's administrator? What advice would you give them?
Well, I always felt like I got to where I wanted to be just because of my work ethic and professionalism. In the field of athletic training, when you quit learning, you're done, because it's changing all the time, just like medicine. Sports medicine changes just as fast. So, I wouldn't say so much keep your head down. Certainly not. You have to express your opinion and be heard. So definitely need to take a leadership role and fight for what you want to do. I I knew I always wanted to be a head athletic trainer. When I first went to UTEP, Dave was like, "Oh, well, you're never going to be that here, because I'm never leaving." I'm like, "Cool, just give me some good years of experience and send me on my merry way." And that I think work ethic goes a long ways, and always, as me as an athletic trainer, I always put my athletes first, because that's why I had a job. But just working hard and communicating and being a professional, I think will go a long ways.
Ciara?
I think my advice would be just to set goals and to work hard and to have great mentors. I think the key to success is definitely having great people around you, having great mentors, whether it's professors or other athletic trainers, or even, other people in different fields. But you definitely need people who are going to be there to guide you and to support you and to listen to you and kind of give you the roadmap, and kind of help you on your journey, because, the journey doesn't stop in athletic training. It's always rolling. So you definitely need people who understand and who can help be there for you, no matter what the situation is.
So, kind of a take on that, a twist. What advice would you have given to your younger self if you were where you are now and you're looking at you in college and you're about to graduate? What would you say to the younger you?
Wow, that's a good one. Because I was somebody that just kept my head down, and I just worked hard and just kept pushing and pushing. So I don't know. I kind of what I just said about, keeping your not keeping your head down, but your work ethic, professionalism, communication. I mean, that's what I grew up by. So, that's the advice I'm giving now, and that's kind of what I live by. So I don't know that I would change that much from what my goals were, as a young athletic trainer, even, in school, just starting out. You know, I had some frustrating times as a female on the football field. One time I was a senior and we had a kid go down with an ankle, and I went over to evaluate it, and a freshman male came over and kind of knocked me out of the way. Well, you know, I'm a professional, so I kept my mouth shut then because I wasn't going to create a scene on the football field. But certainly that was addressed later on that day and in a professional manner. And I got my point across, and I think it made me a better athletic trainer. And the head men's trainer kind of stepped back and was like, "Yeah, good job, Dawn." You know, so I don't know that I would really, you know, the profession's changed, but still, I still believe those are the most important things of getting to where you want to be.
Excellent. Ciara?
I would tell my former self that, Sierra, anything's possible. I'm sitting here 1 month out from graduating with my doctorate. I've worked with professional male sports. I would say that the sky's the limit and everything's going to be okay. And you can achieve anything that you set out to be. There is no limit, for female athletic trainers. You can do what you set your mind to do. And I would just say, set those goals and smash them because you can do it.
Excellent. Thank you, ladies.